Hi there, welcome to the Behavior Ninja channel on YouTube, the one-stop channel for teachers who want to hone their behavior management skills to such a fine degree that they become the behavior management heroes of their schools. They become their schools' behavior ninjas, those staff who can just get every kid to do anything that they need them to do, and anyone else who's watching can hardly see what's going on. That's how good you are. So that's the place to be if that's the skill that you want. The truth is, absolutely any teacher can do it, okay? Any teacher can do it. It's just a case of applying skills and knowledge, and this is the place to get the skills and knowledge, okay? My name's Dave. I work as a behavior management consultant for Consuloed Education. I'm also the creator of the Behavior Ninja app, this little chap who's gate crashing the video here, and that's available for download on Android and on Apple. Links below. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about that later on. Okay, what I'm planning to do today is just a few really quick fire skill stops to talk about certain skills and techniques that we can use. I'm going to keep them really short and simple, and the reason for that is I've been working on a longer post all day long with some video editing software, and it's just gone absolutely incredibly wrong. I've got black screens and no video but loads of the audio's there, and it's just driving me mad. So anybody who knows how to solve those problems, you can certainly put comments below. But it has been driving me around the twist, so I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do 2 or 3 rapid fire sessions here, one take only, no editing involved. So if a cat wanders across the front of this screen at any point, I do not care. I'm just going to crack on. Okay, so this first skill stop then, don't ask questions if. Well, it's don't ask questions if you don't want answers, okay? Now, far too often we as teachers, and I've done it a load of times myself, we ask questions of students when we don't actually want or need the answers, okay? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, usually we don't want or need them because we just want them to do what we want them to do, and also we don't necessarily want them because for certain kids the responses that they're going to give, because some kids love these questions, of course, the responses that they give are going to be the kind of things that push our buttons, that annoy us, and we're going to kind of get quite offended by that, and how dare you speak to me like that, I've done courses, and all that kind of thing. Our ego is going to get in the way. It's going to affect our attitude, which affects our behavior, that affects their attitude and affects their behavior, and that cycle carries on and spirals downwards, and we end up with conflict and belligerence and all that kind of stuff, and it looks awful, feels awful, stresses us out. Yeah, it's probably a fantastic thing to watch for certain kids, so it becomes a behavior that they seek out, and you get all kinds of problems. We don't want to go there. Behavior ninjas don't set foot in that kind of territory. So what kind of questions am I talking about then? Well, and bear in mind that sometimes these questions might be, entirely appropriate and you do want answers. And, for, I guess, 95% of kids, you're going to get the kind of response that you genuinely probably do want. And certainly in some schools where you've got these lovely Stepford kids who are down one side of the corridor with their books in their arms in alphabetical order and all that kind of thing. Wonderful. Most of us aren't working in those kind of circumstances. But certainly we can get off with asking these questions with the vast majority of kids, but then there's the other kids, right? And these are the kids that we're talking about, kids who have challenging behaviour, complex needs, so on and so forth. Ingrained techniques that they use to wind teachers up sometimes as well, if we're honest. So, examples of those questions then. Why are you late? Why haven't you started work yet? Why haven't you done your homework? Why have you still got your coat on? Those are the sort of questions that realistically we don't want or need an answer to in most circumstances. Okay, so let's look at those. Well, if a child turns up late to your lesson and you ask the question, why are you late? Everybody else stops working. We don't want that. If it's a particularly belligerent child, and often they are, of course, they'll probably have 3 or 4 stock responses that are designed to wind you up. They probably potentially will have a reason that's quite reasonable, and they'll use that in a way that kind of sets this conflict in motion. Why are you late? I've been to see the head. Is that a problem? That leaves you in a position with an audience where you're going to kind of struggle to manage that. You might have a script prepared, of course, if you're a behavior ninja. But anyway, let's not go there. Let's not ask that question. Why haven't you started work yet? Because I don't understand it, miss. You haven't explained it properly. Why haven't you done your homework? Because it's year 5 work, it's baby work. I did it 5 years ago, it's rubbish. Any of those responses are not really going to help us. So we don't ask questions if we don't want answers. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, what's the alternative to that? Okay, well, let's look at what that might be. I mean, there could be a million questions, of course, so we have to look at certain categories and how we would respond to those. So I'll give you a typical example. I have a student in my classroom who hasn't started work yet and everybody else has. Now, why am I going to say to them, why haven't you started work? Because almost certainly other people who have started work are going to stop to see what's going to happen. The road show's started, right? We're not going to do that. So I might just say to that student, you should be on chapter 2, thank you. And then I'm going to move away and talk to other kids. Now, I haven't told them what not to do. I've told them what they should be doing. It's a much more positive way of phrasing it. Have I got the solution that I wanted? Yes. Did I ask a question that I didn't need an answer to? Certainly not. No chance. What about the question, why are you late? Do I genuinely need to know the answer to that? Now, I would suggest you don't, because in the vast majority of cases when I'm observing lessons and staff ask a student, why are you late? They don't even listen to the answer. It just seems to be like one of these automatic responses that teachers have to a child coming into the class late, okay? And typically those are those belligerent students. So, you know, why even go down that line of introducing a power struggle that didn't need to be there? So what am I going to do with the why, you know, that child who turns up late and the potential for that why are you late question? Well, I'm not going to ask it. So the child arrives at the class, all I'm going to say is, Steve, you're late, I'm going to speak to you about it later on, but if you can just sit down and crack on, that would be great. I'm not going to say things like you haven't missed anything important, because if Steve hasn't missed anything important, that's me saying to the rest of the class, I haven't said anything important yet. He's missed important time in the classroom for certain, and that's something I'm going to have a conversation with him at a later point in the lesson when everyone is head down and working. But right now, he's just going to get a stated fact. Steve, you are late. I'll talk to you about it in a moment. Take your seat and listen to what's being said. Thank you. And that's all. And I'm going to smile at him. And I might even say, Steve, great to see you. You're a little bit late. Let's crack on. It's all I have to do. I don't have to act like the enemy. Okay? So that's another example. A child is sitting in your class, still got coat on. Maybe they've just come in from the yard. You're in, I don't know, let's say you're in a primary school. The year 5s, they've just come in from the yard. He's still got his coat on. Everyone else hasn't. Why do I need to say, why have you got your coat on? It's a question that's pointless. I'm not going to ask that question. Instead, I'm just going to say, Tom, take your coat off, thank you. Or I might say to everyone else, guys, it's brilliant. You've followed the routine that we have in this class, that when you come in, the first thing you do is take your coat off. I haven't even addressed Tom directly, have I? I've mentioned all the other kids who are getting it right. Much more positive way to go. So all I'm saying to you is think about, reflect on the questions you ask, and if you feel at that point that's not a question that you needed an answer to, then don't bother with it. Find something alternative to say, and if you can put a positive bias and a positive spin on the way you do that, you'll have a far better time. Okay, hope that's useful to you. Feel free to comment excuse me, comment below. Like and subscribe as always, please. I mentioned the app earlier on. I do have the app on my phone, so I'll just kind of show you that right now. There it is, the Behavior Ninja app. Okay, so you've got a bit of an intro page there. You've also got, let me have a quick shufty. You've also got a list of skills that you can have a look at, and each of those skills has a bit of a description. There we go. So each of those skills has a bit of a description, so you can kind of click on one of those and have a look at whatever it's saying. You've got excuse me again, you've got complex needs on there, and you can click on any one of those and you'll get some information about how to manage it and so on. You've got a filter, so if you've got behavior that you're struggling with, you can click all the criteria that apply and then use the filter, and it will come up with some ideas for skills that you can use. I think personally, I love it. I think it's great, but I'm bound to say that, right? Because I wrote the thing. So it's there for you if you want to have a look at it. Please, you know, have a look at the links down below, see what you think. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time. I've done that in under 10 minutes, one take, no problems, no cats wandering across the front. Smashing. Thanks a lot. Take care.